and welcome you all to this Friday morning community meditation session. It's so lovely to see your faces. And James was just asking which practice I'm going to lead. So I am going to use settling, grounding, resting, and I invite you to use whichever support you'd like to use, whether it's following your breath or using the sounds in the room, or indeed just that sense of embodied presence of sitting on your chair. And I'm going to bring in a little extra added something that you might use as a support. And it's inspired from an experience I had earlier in the week. I was actually at, one of those parking ticket payment places where you go and you pay for your parking ticket. And I was feeling quite rushed, to be honest, and feeling like I needed to get going. And the person in front of me, this man, just as he arrived, he was in front. He reached into his pocket and he pulled out this scattering of change, and he started to slowly pay for his parking ticket, 20p at a time. And it was like eight something that, I knew I was going to be standing there for a while. And I could feel myself tense. I could feel that annoyance in my head and feel like, who pays for parking tickets with cash anymore? All of these big judgments throwing through. And I remembered, actually, my mother still pays for parking tickets with 20p coins. And all of a sudden, I had that snap in my mind of, Jane, remember what you teach, because I'm a mindfulness teacher. And if anyone here has ever taken a mindfulness course, one of the first ways that we invite you to embed the practice into your daily life is when you're standing in line somewhere and you're having to really feel that rise, in the body, and you're feeling a bit tense. That's the opportunity to practice mindfulness. And I laughed a little bit to myself. I had a little smile, just at how it really does, the practice really does slip by unless we're practicing over and over again. And giving myself a break, I was able then to touch in with the practice, the breath, smiling at myself, and maybe even bringing a bit of kindness. And before long, the lovely man had finished paying for his parking tickets in 20p coins, and the end of the world didn't happen. But it really struck me that actually one of the wonderful ways that we can make the practice our own or embed it in our daily life outside of sitting practice is noticing, using those moments when we start to feel, oh, I don't like this, or feel a bit of tension in the body, feel a bit of resistance, letting the dislikes, the resistance be our support to remind us just to come and be present. So I thought what we would do this morning is really a settling, grounding, resting practice, but also with an intention to use our distractions, to use those feelings of any holding or tension, or maybe something we don't like or that we're fighting with, using that as it's not our enemy. Actually, it's a wonderful reminder to simply just maybe offer ourselves a bit of kindness, smile, and to come back to resting. So yes, use the breath, the body, sound as a support, but let's see if we can also use our distractions as our support for this practice. Okay. Does that sound like an okay thing to do? Perfect. Okay. So let's begin. So just taking a moment to finding a posture. Having a little wiggle in the seat, maybe rolling the shoulders. Maybe even beginning by sensing into the body and feeling the feet, if they're not already, just firmly planted on the ground. The hands in lap. And beginning by taking a deep breath. And as we breathe out, just inviting the body to soften and to really surrender into the support of the chair or the cushion, the bed. and beneath it, the deep, vast earth. And then taking a moment to place our mind through setting an intention for this practice. Perhaps an intention to simply be present, to be mindful. And if you like, again, it's an invitation to really use our distractions, our dislikes, our tensions as an extra support to remind us to come back to resting really with a quality of kindness and care. And briefly touching in with why this is important, the practice. How our practice and indeed sitting in community benefits our life and all those around us. So just spending a moment reflecting on this, why we're here this morning. And then allowing our intention and motivation just to rest in the heart as we turn our attention to the breathing body and the flow of breath through the body. So really getting a sense of all the ways that the body is receiving and releasing this breath. Feeling the breath from the inside out. And just touching in with the quality of the rhythm, noticing if the rhythm is communicating anything, a tightness, shallowness, maybe some tension, or a depth, a long breath, maybe a sense of ease. How's the breath this morning? Just noticing. And then seeing if we might just slightly adapt the breath to finding a rhythm that really softens the body, that brings a sense of ease. And again, if this feels okay, so you might already have that rhythm of ease, or you might just like slightly lengthen and deepen the breath. Again, not forcing anything. And then if it's helpful, if the mind is feeling a bit distracted this morning, we can bring in a count or a phrase, a strong support to help gather in any distracted energy. So resting our attention on a softened breath and a count or a phrase, something neutral, such as breathing in, breathing out, whatever it is you're working with this morning. So the mind still might get pulled, and that's okay. Just noticing this and seeing if we can allow any of the thoughts or sensations or emotions that are pulling us in to thinking to remind us to just come back with kindness and a gentleness to the breath and the breathing body, and the count or the phrase. And then when it feels okay, inviting you to just allow the breath to come back to its natural rhythm, not changing anything at all. Being connected to how the breathing body feels, again, from the inside out. And maybe spending a bit more attention on the out breath, noticing all the ways that the body is releasing with each exhalation. Maybe a sense of the diaphragm dropping, shoulders relaxing, maybe even a sense of the body getting a little bit heavier with each out breath. And then seeing if the mind can learn from this wise body, and with each out breath, inviting the mind to just let go of thinking, letting go of Any sense of trying to get it right. And inviting the mind to drop down into the body, opening up to all the sensations of being alive. Just noticing what you can feel. Sometimes it can be quite tricky to notice sensations, maybe beginning with the feet and the hands, sense of warmth or coolness, tingling, an ache. And then broadening out from the feet and the hands, gently scanning the body for anything else that's here. How do you know that your body is present, resting on this chair? What can you feel? Maybe it's points of contact or a fizzing of vitality, of liveliness through the body, or some numbness or some pain, some discomfort. Seeing if we can just simply notice and maybe even bringing a kindness and a tenderness and a care to whatever it is that we can feel. Using the out breath to soften around the edges of sensations. Not so we change them, rather so we give them space to just simply be. And so sensing the body, feeling the body, seeing if we can broaden the awareness out a bit to the space around the body. Maybe noticing any movement of air on skin. Any sounds in the room or outside of the room. Maybe even a sense of being online, a computer or phone in front of you, a device, sitting amongst community. And see if we can come to rest in this space. Real quality of nowhere to go and nothing to do. We don't need to figure anything out, get things right. Don't need to remember anything or make any plans. We're just simply resting. Resting this alive, breathing body. And we'll soon start to see the mind move off. We can bring in the support, whichever you'd like to work with this morning, the sounds or the breath. Or the sensations in the body. And noticing when the mind has moved off and if there is some activity happening in the mind. This is okay. This is where seeing if we can allow the distractions, the thinking, to remind us, I'm simply resting and just bringing the attention back with a kind smile. Maybe any self-compassion we can muster. To simply resting with this breathing body. In this chair, this cushion, in this moment. It's really using distraction as an extra support. And again, touching in with maybe the quality of our attention. There's a sense of irritation or judgment or something that's happening that's feeling like tension, seeing if we can also use this, our dislikes, as support, noticing when we're feeling this in the body, maybe a sense of impatience, noticing that we're caught up and maybe with a smile and a kindness, a tenderness and a care, just coming back to the resting body. With a real sense of nowhere to go, nothing to do. As we're coming towards the end of the practice. Touching in with how we are just now and maybe reflecting if there has been any benefit from sitting together, breathing together, practicing, making a wish for these benefits to grow so they may take root in our heart and sending them out. Benefits to our family, our friends, our communities, our nations, and out even further in ever expanding circles. When you're ready, you might like to bring a little bit of movement into your body, a stretch, or a wiggle, or anything that your body is asking you to do.